every time I think about those kids, it gets me mad.
It was a winter day in 2012 in Newtown, Connecticut. No one waking up that morning could ever have imagined that a mass shooting would take place in the local elementary school, Sandy Hook. More than 20 students and teachers were shot.
Hold my hand while I run this race.
4 years on, and two groups of people, supporters and opponents of gun control, met on the street near the school. Behind them, the headquarters of the National Shooting Sports Foundation.
Look, you can't fix crazy, so people need to have the right to be prepared to defend themselves.
We all grieved, and I think we're trying to turn that grief into action, make a difference so that fewer communities have to suffer.
Amid such sharply conflicting opinions, it's hard for the federal government to take effective measures across the country. So, people in favour of tighter gun control regulations have found ways to implement their own measures. Ralph Fascitelli was one of a group of people that introduced the Washington Initiative 594. It's a bill that went into effect in November 2014, which requires every person in the state wishing to buy a firearm to undergo background checks. Washington is the 18th state in the country to introduce the regulation.
The significance is Washington State was the first state to have it passed by consumer initiative. All the states have gone through the legislature, which is far less expensive to happen. It took $10 million to pass this in the state because first we tried to pass it through the legislature and it didn't even get out of committee. So I think the survey numbers of our state polls showed almost 10-to-1 favorability for universal background checks.
The people behind Washington Initiative 594 had to spend large sums of money to launch a civil referendum. Fortunately, several celebrities, including Bill Gates, supported the idea. Support also came from the local judicial department, which gave important momentum to the initiative. Dan Satterberg is a prosecutor of King County, Washington. He was also among those who backed the initiative.
I find myself in the middle. I understand both sides, but I thought that a universal background check was a reasonable thing to do, and I would think that a responsible gun owner would want to know before they sold their gun to somebody, is this person I'm selling my gun to, are they legally allowed to have it?
Signature gathering is hard. You're lucky if you can do 10 or 15, an hour. And our Washington ceasefire was the biggest signature gathering. Tens of thousands of man hours necessary to get the signatures. It's a Herculean effort to do that. And that was accomplished. So we had the necessary signatures, and then it went on the ballot.
The initiators of the bill were able to raise a significant sum of money in a short time. They also managed to beat the National Rifle Association in the propaganda war which followed until the bill was finally passed. Since it was made into law in 2014, the regulation has successfully prevented a number of unsuitable people from purchasing firearms.
We know that criminals aren't going to follow this law, and most of the guns that are used in crimes in our area are stolen in burglaries. They're stolen from people who didn't store their gun in a safe, who left their house and left their gun available, or left their gun in their car, and it was stolen from the car. So most of the criminals are not getting their guns through legitimate sales. But it's a symbol, I think, an important symbol, that with the power of gun ownership comes the responsibility to make sure that when you sell it, that you do it legally.
St. Louis is one of the most dangerous cities in the US, with one person killed there every 2 days. Christine is a painter. Families of miners killed in shooting incidents send her pictures of their loved ones. Christine then creates a painting of them as a tribute and memento. Scores of other painters have joined her group. They've showcased their paintings across the country to promote gun control.
I didn't know if I was doing the right thing in the beginning. I didn't know if this was an intrusion of their privacy. And I asked and was very concerned, was this helping them or hurting them? And I didn't want to continue if in any way it was hurting the families. And I heard over and over again that it was keeping their child's memory alive, and that's a primary concern of a family who's lost a child They don't want that child to be forgotten, specifically when their child was lost to gun violence. They want the innocence of that child to be remembered.
Controversies over gun control are set to dominate public discourse for a long time to come. However, so long as the debate continues, one thing is clear: the possibility for more people to die in gun-related incidents remains an ever-present threat. Gavin Blackburn, CCTV.